Join us as we dive into the history, hauntings, and high strangeness of the world to try to better understand the paranormal. I will be your guide. I am paranormal researcher and investigator Eric Freeman Sims. Welcome to the Unseen Paranormal Podcast. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Unseen Paranormal Podcast. I am your host, Eric Freeman Sims, and today we have episode 2 of our spooky season Halloween week special episodes. I am narrating a few more stories on this episode from my book, Small Town Haunts and Legends of Tennessee, and that book is available on Amazon, Kindle, BarnesandNoble.com, Apple Books, Goodreads, and anywhere fine books are sold. And you can also catch me doing some book signings throughout the rest of this year and get your book signed, or you can buy one from me on the spot and I will personalize it for you. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get down to the business. Our first story is the Legend of Reelfoot Lake. Reelfoot Lake is in the northwest corner of Tennessee in Tiptonville. The lake was created during the violent New Madrid earthquakes that occurred between 1811 and 1812. Multiple witnesses claim the Mississippi River ran backward for almost 24 hours. The earthquakes changed the land's topography, and the river flooded, creating Reelfoot Lake. The shallow lake spans 15,000 acres and is known for its cypress trees and nesting bald eagles. Much of the lake is a type of flooded forest home to many kinds of shore and wading birds, along with aquatic plants and flowers. The area is a state park that offers hiking, camping, tours, and various other activities throughout the year. Reelfoot Lake is a cursed piece of land, according to the Chickasaw legend. The story starts with the son of a Chickasaw chief. The son had a deformed foot that rolled when he walked and was known as Callipin by his people. Callipin translates to Reelfoot. When Reelfoot's father died, he became chief. He was sad and lonely and was not interested in any of his tribe's maidens. His father had told him of stories of tribes to the south and of their beautiful women, so he decided to make a pilgrimage to find a mate. Reelfoot journeyed south downriver to the land of the Choctaw. When he arrived at the Choctaw village, he was greeted with ceremony and invited to the council fire to meet the chief, Copia. Next to Copia sat his daughter. Copia asked the reason for the visit, and Reelfoot explained that he was looking for a princess to marry and return home with. He then told the chief that his daughter was the most beautiful woman he had ever seen and wanted her hand in marriage. Copia was outraged and did not want his daughter, Laughing Eyes, to marry a deformed chief and told Reelfoot that she would only marry a Choctaw chief. Copia called on the Great Spirit for help. The Great Spirit told Reelfoot that it was against tribal law to steal a bride from another tribe. If he disobeyed the law, the Great Spirit would cause the earth to shake and waters to rise and flood Reelfoot's village. Reelfoot was frightened by this warning and returned to his own village feeling defeated. A year passed and Reelfoot still had no bride and was lonely, so he decided to ignore the warning and return to Choctaw land to kidnap Laughing Eyes. His mission was successful and he returned to his village to receive a grand celebration from his people. Laughing Eyes was terrified of what the Great Spirit would do and begged Reelfoot to return her to the Choctaw tribe, but he refused because he was in love with the princess. A marriage ceremony was arranged, and the Chickasaw tribe rejoiced. The Great Spirit was angered that Reelfoot had disobeyed him. During the ceremony, the ground began to shake and rumble to the beat of a drum. Reelfoot, Laughing Eyes, and the villagers tried to flee, but the trembling ground caused them to stumble and stagger. The Great Spirit stomped his foot in anger. The Father of Waters heard the thunderous roar and flooded the village, drowning everyone in it. The area where the Great Spirit stomped is now Reelfoot Lake. Some claim that you can often hear drums beating from below the surface of the lake, while others have seen a canoe with 2 Native Americans quietly gliding across the water, only to disappear into the fog. Our next story comes from Bolivar, Tennessee, a mansion called Magnolia Manor. On Main Street, just off the square, you will find a beautiful 2-story mansion known as Magnolia Manor. The home was built by Judge Austin Miller in 1849 and occupied by his descendants until the 1970s. In 1981, Miss Elaine Cox bought the house. She fully restored the home to its previous glory, and it served as a bed and breakfast until 2019. During the occupation of the town, 4 Union generals used the manor as their headquarters, including Grant, Sherman, Logan, and McPherson. One night, while sitting at the dinner table, Sherman made the comment that he believed that all Southern men, women, and children should be exterminated. Miss Miller heard this comment and ran out of the room, crying. General Grant followed her to see what was wrong. Miss Miller told Grant what was said, and Grant confronted Sherman and made him apologize. Sherman felt angry and humiliated, so he stormed up to his room. On the way up the stairs, he drew his sword and slashed the banister, leaving a mark that can still be seen to this day. It is also believed the generals planned the Battle of Vicksburg in this home. There are many ghostly reports from the guests and employees of the former bed and breakfast. Spirits that are seen are believed to be members of the Miller family, those of the enslaved, and some from the Civil War. Many specters are reported in the detached kitchen cottage, including the apparition of a short, heavy-set woman who has been seen many times and described as elderly and wearing an apron over an old-style dress. This spirit is believed to be that of the enslaved cook named Adeline. A cat has also been seen roaming the halls. The cat belonged to the Miller's daughter, Annie. It's buried in the Polk Cemetery in the Miller family plot, and even has its own tombstone. Another unusual animal that haunts the property is that of a ghostly parrot that can be seen and heard in the small building. In the main house, a younger female apparition is often seen in a Victorian-style dress and is described as quite beautiful. She is known to pull the covers off guests and disappears quickly once spotted. A second female spirit is seen rocking in a rocking chair and carrying a lit candle around the house. A ghost affectionately known as Old Smoky haunts the dining room and has been seen walking down the hall to the bedroom. The heavy smell of cigar smoke usually follows him, and he appears quite often. Some visitors have also reported being touched by an unseen hand and have heard voices, laughter, and phantom footsteps. Cold spots are also a common occurrence with no explanation. 3 generations of the Miller family lived in the manor, so it makes sense that some chose not to leave. Reflections of the Civil War have also been witnessed by the current owners. One evening in the den, they observed a room full of people in Civil War dress. They watched the soldiers in amazement for almost a full minute before they vanished. Another soldier has been reported to patrol the property, still fulfilling his duty even in death. Our last story comes from Gallatin, Tennessee, the beautiful Historic Rosemont. Construction of Rosemont began in 1836 by Judge Josephus Con Guild, using only materials from the property, and was completed in 1842. The 2-story brick home was built in the blend of Greek Revival and Palladian styles, with 3 separate buildings connected by a covered portico and named after a large rose garden on the north side of the house. The Guild family and their descendants would occupy the home until 1993, when it was sold to the city of Gallatin. The house originally sat on a 500-acre working farm that raised longhorn cattle, but was mainly a thoroughbred horse farm. Their prized horses were highly sought after for racing, and one of them produced the genetic line from which the famed Secretariat descended. The Guild family lived relatively quietly until 1862, when the Union Army came to town. During the Union occupation, Rosemont would see the confiscation of their thoroughbred horses, cattle, and even Judge Josephus Con Guild's political imprisonment. One story during the occupation involves Mrs. Guild and the dining room table. Union troops had placed a piece of furniture by the road to write dispatches and other correspondence. One soldier would even pass the time by repeatedly sticking his knife into the wood and carving on it. It is said that when Mrs. Guild found out about the misuse, she marched directly out to the road and confronted the soldiers, demanding they bring the table back into the house immediately, scolding them back to the dining room. To this day, one end of the table still shows ink stains and the deep gouges from the knife. Another story tells of how the Guilds kept some of their thoroughbreds until the end of the war by hiding several of the finest horses in the basement. In the evening, they would supply alcohol to the Union night watch and wait until the soldiers got drunk and passed out. With the soldiers out of the way, they could walk and exercise the animals under the cover of darkness. These hidden horses ensured that after the war, the family would still be in the lucrative business that helped make them wealthy. The family claims the house has always had an element of the supernatural. As one of the Guild women lay dying, a big owl swooped down the chimney and sat on her headboard. After she took her last breath, the bird flew back up the smokestack, never to be seen again. The family tells stories of the Guild women having certain psychic gifts passed from one female generation to the next, with a few men also inheriting them. They were connected to the spirit world, and the people of Gallatin sought their advice on different topics. The house is still paranormally active to this day. Many brides have chosen to have their ceremonies at the beautiful home and use the upstairs bedroom to get dressed along with their wedding parties. Some have claimed to see a woman in an 1800s dress who is believed to be the ghost of Betty, the daughter-in-law of Judge Guild. Other brides have been joined in photos by, at first, unseen apparitions, and wedding photographers have captured incredible pictures of what appear to be spirits still roaming the grounds. Numerous paranormal investigations have taken place at Rosemont over the years. Investigators have caught many EVPs, electronic voice phenomena, on recordings including a woman's voice, a horse whinny, children's voices, and phantom footsteps. Other claims in the house are doors opening and closing, footsteps up and down the staircase, and disembodied voices. The full-body spirit of a very nicely dressed man wearing a fedora has often been seen in the reception building behind the house. He is believed to be the spirit of one of the guildmen who lived in the house in the 1970s because his man cave sat on the concrete pad where the reception hall now stands. There are many more witness stories of encounters with the otherworldly at Rosemont. Most of, if not all, of these accounts are positive interactions with what is believed to be the guild family themselves. Rosemont has such a vast history that it is no surprise that the guilds come back to visit their beautiful family home. Gallatin's Historic Rosemont is open from April through October for history tours, paranormal investigations, and various events year-round. All right, that is all for this special Halloween episode number 2 for spooky season. Thank you for tuning in. Small Town Haunts and Legends of Tennessee by myself, Eric Freeman Sims, is available on Amazon, Kindle, Apple Books, BarnesandNoble.com, Goodreads, and wherever fine books are sold. So go grab yourself a copy and enjoy the rest of the stories in the book. Thank you for tuning in today. We'll see you next time. Stay safe out there. Thank you for listening to the Unseen Paranormal. Join me next Wednesday with a brand new guest, and please rate, review, share, and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you're listening right now. This helps more people discover the show. You can connect with me over on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or join us in the Unseen Paranormal Lounge group on Facebook. Until next time, remember, some of the scariest things are unseen.
You have come to the end of the line.